Welcome to the Holyrology Club. My name's Sam and I'm from Wilberforce Watches. This week we're going to discuss lower end vintage watch repairs. Now, vintage watch repairs are an aspect I'm quite concerned about and also very interested in as well. You're always going to get your higher end Omegas, Patek Philippe's, Audemars Piguet's, Rolexes. There's always going to be a market out there for these watches to get repaired. They're historically very significant. There's always going to be watchmakers and repair centres who are going to be willing at a certain margin and cost to repair these. And that's great, they should be repaired, and I'm really all for that. What I'm concerned about, and a little bit worried, is the lower end of the market, the £100 to the £500 watches. There's loads of brands here. You've got older American ones, for instance, like Gruen and Waltham. You've got other ones that fed into Breitling, Sakura. And also lower end Omegas and Longines. These are just a few of the brands that I think may be affected in the next 10, at the very least 15 years. Because what's going to happen, you've got watchmakers who've built up a skill set from a very early age, say 40, 50 years ago. They were apprentice, they've worked in a shop, became accredited, maybe owned their own shop, and now they're able to repair a variety of watches. And they're willing to repair lower end watches, be it from 50, 100, all the way up to 500 and obviously beyond. But this 50 to £500 market I think is going to get very squeezed and maybe become unable to be repaired. You've got watchmakers that I go to, they are able to repair watches at the moment that I have. My personal watches, they can service, replace parts if they go wrong, do various works on them. And over the next 5-10 years, I think this is going to be lost because the skill isn't being passed on. I've spoken to a few of them who I get on with quite well, and hopefully they're like me, and they're happy to repair watches. They'll do it from anywhere between, depending on who they are and the watch and the movement, let's say 70 up to 150 and maybe a little bit beyond. And that's fine, that's economically viable, it's financially viable for a business, financially viable for a collector, and you can get your £100 Waltham repaired, you can get your Timex Seiko that's £250 repaired, you can get your manual wind chronograph that's now gone after the quartz crisis, the manufacturer's disappeared. You can get those repaired. And the manual wind movements and the watchmaker knows what they're doing, they'll spend however long they spend on it and you pay them the fee and are happy. Now there's going to come a point where sadly these watchmakers are no longer with us, they don't pass the skill on because no one's, I've spoken to them about, they say no one is coming up through the ranks to replace them and learn this skill, and that skill set won't exist. Now, I've said to them, obviously I'm quite interested a little bit in watch repair. I'd like to be able to service one, maybe regulate it, replace a crown on very basic movements. I'm not going to exaggerate how much I know about mechanics of watches, it's very new to me. And they said, sound great, I'd love to pass it on, I'm pleased you're interested, but it's too long in the game now. I really can't pass the skill set on, not even my son's interested, he's doing his own thing. So they said to me, if you're interested, go to a big watch repair centre where they get hordes of watches in, various watches away from sort of, I guess, 150 quid up to 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 and beyond. And they repair all of these and send them back to you. Now, they want to make a margin, they don't want to make money, so they're going to charge quite high fees, be it 300 and upwards, I guess, pounds. Now, that's not really economically viable. If you buy a £100 watch, you want to get it repaired, you're going to cost you £400 to get it back to accurate movement and keeping good time. So there's going to come a point in time, I think, over the next 5-10 years where this skill set is gone. And that's quite a sad thing because you've got some great watches there. The watches I have in the shop and the watches I personally own, they're manual wound, movement, variety, maybe even chronographs. They've got lovely patinas, they've got great dials, interesting bezels, really cool cases, and you don't find these vintage watches in modern day watches anymore. And that £100 to £500 market, I think in the next 10 years may well not be economically viable to get it repaired. And that's sad. I mean, do we get the watches we have, do we put them all in a big box and we look at them and think, well, that 10 years ago I could get that watch repaired, and now that's viable, so I'm going to put those all into a box and chuck them in a bin, chuck them in a skip. That's sad. there's a lot of history there. You know, you've got great compliments I get on some of the vintage watches I own. I'm sure many others out there do as well. Much more than you would over, say, a Daniel Wellington or Abbott Lion, these sort of Chinese carbon copy quartz movements. For some people they're great and they love their watch, and that's fine, but for me it doesn't really cut it having a quartz Daniel Wellington watch. I want a vintage TikTok mechanical movement I wind every morning. That's part of the appeal to me. And I'm just worried that, you know, we as a vintage community may well lose those watches, and that's quite sad. So I'd be interested to know your thoughts. I mean, I've only been doing this for 18 months, and you out there, you may well have a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5, 10, 20, 50 and beyond years of experience, and you'll know far more about the dynamics of the market and how the vintage market moves. I'd be interested to know your thoughts, what you think is going to happen. Will people be able to repair these watches? Will we be able to still keep them and service them, repair them and keep them in our collections? Or do we have to move into the higher end of the market, have a 2000 pound Rolex that we service, because it's only viable to have a watch that is that expensive and we can justify spending £300 in its repair? Or I mean, what do you think happens? So please let me know your thoughts, comment below, or shoot me an email at info@wilberforcewatches.com. We can discuss it next week. I'd be really interested to know your thoughts, what you think is going to happen, and yeah, get back to me and we'll discuss it. But thanks very much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.